Greetings, one and all. This is Kenny Cummins here. You're listening to Triple Threat Wrestling Radio. And I'm very excited to have my guests at this time representing the West Coast, one half of the Killer Bays. She goes by the name of Laura James. She's with me right now. How's it going?
It's going good. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me for the interview. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
So I've been a fan of yours for quite some time, and you are very talented in the ring, and you and Heather make one hell of a good tag team as well. And
Hey, thank you.
it was just, I interviewed Heather recently, and we talked about the team. So I want to start off with that first. So what's it like getting the chance to team up with Heather and forming this tag team that you ladies have?
So, me and Heather actually met. We did a tour of the U.S. together. We were part of the opening act for a band, and we hit it off right away. And it's just been great to be with her, really. And yeah, she's just been a great person to have around. And yeah, I just love traveling with her and tagging with her.
So on Monday Night Raw a while back, your tag team partner was on national television. And
She was.
what was your reaction when you watched the TV screen? Wait a minute, that's my tag team partner on national television. Like, what was your reaction when you saw Heather on TV?
I didn't see it when it happened. I found out, she didn't tell me it was happening before. I saw pictures on the internet and then went back and watched it. But I think it's awesome. It's good for her to get that exposure, you know. And she's very talented and she deserves those opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it live. I'm like, okay, she looks very familiar. And then after the match, I watched my Facebook.
Oh, Sarah Pierce.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. Sasha, that was quite a name. We got Sasha Banks and now Sasha Fish. People are probably gonna get the two mixed up or something for all I know. So I didn't know who it was at first because some of the attire looked different from what I'm used to seeing her as. But then when I looked at my Facebook feed, like 15, 20 minutes after, wait a minute, that's Heather Monroe. I'm like, wow, that's awesome, And this whole woman revolution is just growing and evolving, and it was good to see her get that exposure. She's very awesome, and I mean, good for her.
Yeah, she's very deserving of it.
So, as for you, as an in-ring performer, what got you started in becoming a wrestler?
So I actually I was bodybuilding before for a little bit. And I kind of hated it, to be honest. I found it to be pretty boring. I mean, to each their own. I know a lot of people that are into it, but you work your ass off. You're on stage for 2 minutes, and no one really cares. It's pretty monotonous, and I wanted to do something that was kind of more fun, but still athletic. And I obviously watched wrestling, so I was like, oh well, I'm gonna give this a try, and lo and behold, here I am still doing it.
Do you remember your first wrestling match that you had? And if so, who was your opponent and what company did you work for?
The first match I had was for the school that I had trained with, which was Knox Pro. I don't even remember. I know it was me and two of the other girls versus a few of the guys. And it was... I think we went over. I think it was pretty decent match for a first match, and especially being 3-on-3, that can always get a little bit messy. So, but that was quite a while ago now.
One thing I tend to ask guests is that like when they get a chance to watch their matches on replay, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's through the video cam, do you often at times watch your own matches on YouTube or on the video cam, like the replay, just to see what you did right or what you do wrong? Like, how do you how do you critique yourself per se?
I think when you've had a good match or a bad match. I hate watching myself do anything. But I'll see like GIFs and clips and yeah, I hate watching myself. I hate listening to myself. I just find it really odd.
You know what? I truly understand. There are times when I do my radio show, I hate listening to myself on the replay. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just feels weird. I mean, I do
And
it.
it's not, it's nothing to do with wrestling. It's like, it could be anything that I'm
Yeah.
doing. It could be like even a home video or anything. I'm just like, I can't watch myself.
I mean, I guess that just further proves that all of us, whether we want to admit it or not, we could be our worst critic. Like, man.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
yeah. I mean, I will occasionally watch bits back, like I said, but I think, if you've had a good match or a bad match, and I know there are definitely people I can go to and get an honest opinion. So.
True. Very, very true. Now, who do you consider like your bigger influences, whether it's on the indie scene or those on the pro wrestling scene? Who do you consider like your bigger influences?
I mean, I think growing up and the era that I was watching, obviously like China was a big influence to I think a lot of female wrestlers that are my age. On the indies, I mean, my good friend Candice is incredible, so she's always a good one to watch. But yeah, I think, you should kind of just collectively watch, everything and take influences from everybody.
There's a lot of talented women wrestlers on the West Coast that I'm starting to be familiar with. Like yourself.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There's Heather Monroe. There's Thunder Rosa, who's on Lucha Underground's Cobra Moon. Allie Parker. I mean, just to name a few. Like, how do you feel about the competition?
Yeah, Raze is also really, she's a good friend of mine. She's incredible too. And Sage, and, you've got Nicole Savoy and Shayna Baszler out here now. I mean, there's a lot more girls than there used to be for sure.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, how does it feel to be part of that group of talented female wrestlers in the West Coast, seeing how much it has evolved throughout the years?
Yeah, I think I'm very lucky to be around now because I think that, a few years ago there weren't so many female wrestlers out here. So, and, it's still a fairly small scene on the West Coast, so we're all pretty close and everybody knows each other. And, everybody's pretty encouraging towards each other, which is great.
That's great. I've always take pride of when people talk about wrestling and call it like a brotherhood, or in your case, a sisterhood. I mean, you want to go out there and compete and you want to prove to be the best at what you do, but there's humility, there's humbleness that comes with the territory, and it's good to see that within you and the rest of the talented female wrestlers in the West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the girls realize that it's not like there's a limited number of spots. You can always go out and find something. You don't have to be fighting each other for that. You can build each other up and not tear each other down and, still have your place. So, yeah, luckily all the girls are pretty decent out here, and it's going really well for the women out here.
So, WWE has this woman revolution going on for quite some time, and I enjoyed every moment of it. I've, to see them finally take women wrestling seriously, get talent in there, and perform on bigger stage, performing at main events, at pay-per-views, and Raw, and NXT for that matter. It's great, and now it was been reported for quite some time. Now it's confirmed as of WrestleMania week that there is going to be a women's tournament coming up this summer on the WWE Network from 16 different countries. It's not just Americans, it's all over the world. And that's probably the one thing I'm looking for the most. And dare I say more than SummerSlam. So, I mean, what's your take on this revolution? and this tournament that they have. And from a fan standpoint, I wouldn't mind seeing you in that tournament as well. But who are some other people that you would like to see in that tournament?
Like I said, I have a lot of friends out here that are very talented that I'd like to see on it. I know, obviously, if they're trying to make it more of a global thing, then it's going to be, they can only take so many people from so many countries. Mm-hmm. I'm not really too familiar with the female wrestlers back home that might be available, but yeah, I'm interested to see who they're going to bring in from all the different countries. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully I'll be involved. We'll see about that, though. I don't get to make that call, unfortunately.
It's understandable, and they're gonna definitely look around and see who they feel could be in this tournament, could make it mean something. So I'm glad I'm not one of those people that has to handpick, because once that tournament is released and all the participants, that's always going to be, oh, this person should have been in it. Oh, that person should have been in it. So I'm glad I'm not the one making that decision. But if there's one...
Yeah, I think it's going to be definitely pretty tough for them to pick, because there are so many talented women out there right now. Mm-hmm. And not everyone can do it, but that's okay, There's other opportunities that will come up at some point, I'm sure. So it either happens or it doesn't, and you can't be too bummed if it doesn't,
So I'm pretty sure a lot of people have asked you so many times about this, and I feel kind of guilty of asking you this, but because you probably hear it all the time. But there was a moment that took place last year, and you made headlines, and I seen the footage, the proposal with Joy Wine.
Yep.
I mean, when you look back at it, and how it all unfold and the aftermath, like, does it bother you when somebody keeps asking you about that? Like, what's your take on all that is happening and the aftermath of it?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. Obviously, it was a nice thing that people got behind, and it was kind of interesting that a lot of people that I know that really don't follow wrestling at all, they know nothing about wrestling, would kind of come up and be like, oh my God, hey, I saw you on this TV show or that TV show. And so, I still get people that will be like, oh, you were on my TV the other day again. I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice. And yeah, I guess it brought a little bit of attention to the business also, which is always good. But yeah, no, it was, I didn't expect it to be as popular as it was. It was kind of crazy to me, because I thought that it must have happened before at some point, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, it was interesting. Joy Wine, he's quite the character. I'm just gonna say that for those who haven't got a chance to see him. Like, you may remember the dude for Impact Wrestling's Gut Check, and and he's been on Lucha Underground as well. He's he's very intriguing, very provoking. That's my best way to describe him. He's very provoking.
Yeah, I think you either love him or you hate him. He's a bit like, as in England we would say, he's a bit like Marmite.
I guess the best way to put it is that he's kind of had that ravishing Rick Rude feel to it. Like, fellas,
definitely, yeah.
Fellas really, really hate this guy. And yet there's ladies that admire it. I guess maybe some ladies definitely despise him as well, but he, for obvious reasons, but he's something else. I just want to say that you live in L.A., but you are originally from England. You from England?
Yeah, I'm from Plymouth, England, which is on the southwest coast of England.
So what has it been like making that transition, going from the UK to the USA, get familiar to the cultures and everything? Like, what was it like moving from UK to the USA?
I think they're fairly similar, and I have family that live in Florida, so I spent a lot of family vacations in Florida when I was a kid. So I was really familiar with the US, and yeah, it's not too dissimilar from England, so it wasn't too hard. I definitely don't have to buy as many coats now, which is very nice. The weather's a little better out here, especially, you know, where we are in LA. But yeah, no, it's not too much of a culture shock.
Well, let me just say that I speak for a lot of people that lives on the east/southern part of the United States. And yes, it is true that we do get the warm weather, but when it comes to the fall and the winter, that's a complete different story. Weather gets cold, snow, storms, things like that. Meanwhile, in the West Coast, the weather seems to be very warm.
Yeah, we've got like 2 seasons, which is so hot you might think that you're actually living on the sun and warm. That's it. There's not really a winter here. Although actually it was pretty wet this past winter, so.
Yeah, it's either summer or spring, and you're
pretty much.
Yeah, so I definitely see the 2 seasons analogy for sure. Before I let you go, Laura, why don't you go ahead and promote your upcoming matches, appearances that people need to check out?
What have I got coming up? So I have Maverick Pro on the 22nd of this month. Lucha Vavoom coming up in May, as well as Championship Wrestling from Hollywood again. And I, later this summer, will be debuting at Wrestle Circus.
And for people that wants to get in touch with you social media-wise, why don't you go ahead and promote Twitter, Facebook, any other links people need to know?
I'm one of those weirdos that does not have Facebook, but I do have Twitter, and I think my handle is just at Laura Claire James, I believe. And then you can, if people want to book me, they can find my information on there too.
Hey, there's nothing weird about being on Facebook. I feel you. You know, social media could be too much these days. So
it's a bit much these days, yeah.
Yeah, especially with the memes. You can't escape them. Like no matter where you go. It could be
I love a good meme.
Yeah, so it's just something else. But Laura, it was great chatting with you. Thank you so much for being on the show. Continued success, and again, thank you for being on. And I admire the lovely accent. I admire women with the UK accent. So. You definitely made.
Hey, thank you.
You made this interview so elegant. So let's just put that right.
Thank you.
So
and thank you for having me.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. That will conclude the interview. You can check out Triple Threat Wrestling Radio Thursdays 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on tmvcafe.com. Thank you everyone for listening.